welcome back to Between the Takes. I'm here this time with Maggie May. You came on with three guys. One of them looked a little familiar from a couple Futon Sessions ago, but you guys came on and absolutely killed it. It was so much fun.
Thank you, Jarrett. This is my on-air voice.
This is your on-air voice. But yeah, your actual name is Maggie. Who was the rest of your band?
So we've got Eric Cooper on the bass, Koopaloop, who you may remember. Jack Shouty on guitar, Josh Steingard on drums.
Those guys absolutely killed it. The guitars sounded amazing. The drums sounded amazing, but also looked really cool because that man just is fun to watch play because he throws those stick flips in there.
Yeah. His faces are great.
Yes. How into it he gets is so just entertaining, whether it be live or just watching those videos. So it's actually, we recorded the videos and then waited a little bit, and now we're recording this video, and you got to take a look at them before they're even out, actually.
I did.
What do you think?
They look great.
Yeah?
They look amazing. Yeah. Like, coolest live video, I think, that I've done outside of a gig.
That's awesome. That makes me happy. That makes me very happy. But also, in between those recording times, you had a single come out.
I did. It was Ghost.
That's probably the first one that's coming out for these videos too. Anything special about that song? Obviously, we're going to be like plugging links and stuff down below, but like, is there any special story to the song Ghost?
I'll spare everyone the story because it makes me sound a little bonkers. It's about a real ghost and a very real toxic relationship. But it was kind of the thing that like held up the album for a really long time because it's the most difficult to sing for me. It's kind of like all over the place. And
are you talking emotionally or like literally just
literally
physically
difficult to physically sing? So I spent a lot of time kind of just in my head and not wanting to record it, and using that time to take some vocal lessons with a few different people. So I took some time till I felt really ready to tackle that song. And then in that time, my voice really like grew and progressed, and I learned how to find it a little bit better. And the recording that everyone will hear is what I finally settled on for that song.
Well, hopefully I hope you don't feel like you settled, because they sound good. Like the song turned out really well.
I found what it was supposed to be doing,
good.
You know? Yeah.
I was going to say, I have worked with you like on and off throughout the past couple of years, because we've just done things through like mutual friends. And I was going to say, your voice does seem like it's progressed and gotten better since the first time we worked together, I remember.
Thank you.
Yes, you're definitely like above where you were.
That means a lot. Yeah, it's important to be a good singer when you sing a lot. You know?
I mean, it's a little important. I would hope you're a good singer if you do it a lot.
Also, shout out Kozer, because she's the one who brought us together.
Yeah, shout out Kozer. She's awesome. I'm trying. We're working on scheduling. She's probably going to be on Futon Sessions sometime.
Hell yeah.
I think we've got a date picked out. I'm just not sure when it's actually going to come out, just because there's a little bit of backlog I got to get through right now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that one. Do you still do stuff with her or no? I forget. Like, you used to sing background vocals for her a lot, but that was really before she got the band going.
Well, yeah, we haven't done anything in a while, and I started focusing on the album so much that like I barely even have time to go to work, you know?
I was gonna say, it seems like in your free time I see you posting about shows that you're doing yourself. Do you ever have any like background vocals? I've done a couple gigs with you where some of the musicians sometimes will just sing a harmony for you, but I've never seen anyone just as a designated vocalist up there with you.
Yeah, no, I would love that one day. I did a show, I opened for Soul Live a few years ago at Ardmore, and I really just wanted to showcase as many musicians as possible, which I later found out I wasn't supposed to do. I had like a limit of how many people I had to have on stage. But we worked around it, and I had some backup vocalists then who were really great friends of mine. Other than that, though, no. Sometimes I'll have like Emily Drinker pop on stage if she's around because she can just kill it no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. She's someone else I've got to hit up for these because she's also really good.
Yeah,
but it's just the whole circle of like all these people around each other. It's nice because once you get to know one, you guys all kind of like just pull together and it's like, oh, you should meet my friend here. Oh, you should go hang out with this person. And it's just a really good community to get in around.
We don't gatekeep.
No, you don't. You don't at all. And that's a beautiful thing in music because I was just talking to a band the other day who was on for one of these, and they talked about how hard it is for them to get started in the music scene in Philly. Even though Philly's music scene is alive, strong, and going well, as soon as they said that, I'm just like, dang, you just don't have anyone who's willing to just throw you some contacts. And immediately at the end of the session, I was like, all right, get out your Instagram, hit up this guy, and this guy. You'll get some shows, I promise. And I think one of the names they already had hit up and were like, oh yeah, we're scheduled with him like next year. And I was really happy to hear that because I'm like, to succeed in music, it means something very different than it did like 30, 40 years ago. And nowadays,
even just like 4 years ago.
Right.
Like.
Even just 4 or 5 years ago, even just like 2019 and before. It's these days to succeed, you have to have just a rotation of people you can call and be around. Yep.
Yeah, it's really important. And I think Philly for me was super great because it felt so welcoming. And once you start kind of meeting those people, it kind of snowballs into, oh, wow, this is a whole scene that I can be a part of. Yeah. But yeah, it just takes like knowing that one person.
Right. Knowing that one person, and then they introduce you to someone, and then they introduce you to someone, like it just branches out. I mean, even just knowing you've gotten me a couple gigs with random people, which I really appreciate, by the way.
I really appreciated having sound at Coffee Fest.
Yeah. It seemed like everyone was really happy with that from the 2 other people I got to talk to.
Yeah.
Good. But yeah, so Ghost was the first of the 3 songs, and you just told me when we were watching them, On Hold actually isn't coming out officially for a while, but you did say that there's kind of an interesting story between that and the project that's currently in the process of being released.
Yes. So the album that's being released is called Welcome to the Party, and that is a collection of songs that most of the songs have been written for like 15 years. I just like never had the means or the know-how or really like, I guess the drive to make an album of them. That's a lie. I had the drive, but like not the know-how. And this project was really a lot of taking those songs and like finally getting them out. So I had something to like show for my music. I think I had a couple recordings on Spotify that were over 15 years old. And I recorded them while I had bronchitis for a song competition that I didn't win when I was like 20 years old. So, yeah, it was just like time for something new. And this album took a lot longer than I thought it was going to take. I raised the funds on Indiegogo and I was like, cool, I have the money. I can just get it done. And then I got really in my head about it. And scheduling was a little bit difficult because my producer, Robbie Webb, and I would have like different schedules for different jobs we had throughout the 4 years. And it just took a lot of time. And it started to feel like everything in my music career was on hold because I couldn't send anything to like festivals I was applying to. I didn't have anything to show what I've been doing currently. You know, everything was just old. It wasn't a good representation of who I was. Yeah. So I kind of started to get in my head about like, well, if I'm not putting my best foot forward, what's really the point? So I wrote that song in a kind of period of like, I feel like everything's on hold right now while I finish this album. So yeah, we recorded that song because I love it and I think it's fun. It's like, it's new for the band and I think there's a kind of like new, exciting energy behind it. But it's very much about the album that's about to come out.
That's awesome. That it's fun seeing what comes out of just making a project because you can have, I think that's something that might be intimidating for some artists, or it's something that I imagine is intimidating. When you have that first project, you're to come out. You've had your whole life to write that project up to that point. And now you have to do another one. Well, I don't have the past like 20 some years that I used to write these songs to write the next one. I got to make it up from there. And just even just writing from the process of putting those together is, I don't know, I think it's really cool. I think it's something that people have done it before, but it's always fun seeing the different perspectives because no one's going to have the same perspective. So it's always going to feel different when they write a song about putting out songs.
Yeah. And it honestly took so long, in my opinion. Although everyone I talk to, I feel like albums generally take the same amount of time. It always takes longer than you think.
It definitely does, especially when it's one of your first projects because you still got to figure out your sound.
Figure it out. And like, there was a lot of wanting it to be perfect because it's my first thing and the songs are really special to me. But I pretty much have like a whole new EP on deck for whenever I like put this album out. I'm ready to go.
Back-to-back releases from Maggie May.
Watch out.
That's really cool. So how many songs are going to be on the final version of the project you're working on now that Ghost is on? Because Ghost, you're releasing a couple different singles and then the project, right? Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be releasing 3 more singles and then releasing Welcome to the Party probably April-ish of next year of 2025.
Gotcha. All right. Well, be watching for April 2025. That's all I can say.
Be watching.
Be watching. There probably won't be videos of that, but you know, that's besides the point. But that's really cool. So you have this so once the Welcome to the Party comes out, it's gonna be great. People are gonna check it out, listen to it. You have so many musicians that you pull from because I think even when we did some other live recording videos, you even had different musicians than were on the Futon Sessions video. Because I remember it at Street Fest or whatever it was called in Manayunk. I know you had at least a different guitarist. You had the same drummer. Coop was there. But then also we did another festival where Coop wasn't there and you had a different drummer. And I think you just had an entirely different band
Coop's
there.
lookalike was there. Everybody confuses him and Hoff.
He's a lot taller. I don't know. It's just the shape.
They're
head.
both
That's
bald,
all it
yeah.
is.
And they play bass. Yeah. What was the question?
I guess just like how many musicians do you have that you pull from?
A lot, and it's important because everybody in the band is in a million other bands. So I've kind of built up a really strong deck of alternates over the years.
Got your little black book.
Yeah, I got my little black book, and they all bring very different and exciting vibes to the music. So it's pretty fun to play with new players. Yeah.
I think that's something that's limited some artists too, is how they have their musicians they want to work with, and I appreciate that and I love that and I respect that, but sometimes that can hold you back on a gig. You need to have the flexibility because sometimes you'll have a great festival that might even be willing to like pay you pretty well, but if your band can't make it and you have to pass it up because of one person not being able to make it, it ruins an opportunity and you might not get a call back from them again. Yep. So sometimes you need to be able to just throw it in. So I always love when people have that flexibility to their music. Even someone like Kozer, they have done substitutes. I have a friend who's like filled in for guitar and bass for them on a couple of different occasions, even though he's not like a core member of the band. Like they'll just get someone, rotate them in and out. Did you have different musicians play on the project to the Welcome to the Party, or did you kind of like have a core like set backline that you were working with?
Yeah, so actually Rob Tate played drums on the album.
Okay.
And he primarily was gigging with us for a while, and then he got really heavy into his own project, which he just released his debut album, Rob Tate. Amazing. So yeah, he was on drums and congas on the album. Coop and Jack were on the album, but then I had a bunch of special guests. which I'm really excited about. I have a couple of organ players. John Bickle.
I love organ.
Yeah, John Bickle is amazing. He's in Cordelia Blue and the Bickle Brothers. Eli Winderman from Dopapod played on one of the tracks, which will be one of the singles coming out. And my dad actually played mandolin on a song called El Turn on the album, which was really nice because I don't really get to see him that often. And he doesn't really play that often, but he's a big reason why I picked up music to begin with. He can play every stringed instrument that exists. So it was just really special to have him on this song that I wrote about family, playing one of my favorite instruments. So yeah, and hopefully I'm not forgetting anybody because that would be...
It's okay. Great. We'll always just add them in the description, or maybe we can start a beef. That always helps music reach more people. But yeah, that's really cool. I love whenever I get to see people have even just their family and friends on projects. I was working on a song a couple months ago with a friend, and her dad was playing guitar for her. You listed a lot of instruments, though. A lot of different instruments. Oh,
I have to actually add one. Ooh. So Justin Nemec from Kozer played the intro on the song that Eli Winderman is on.
I love Justin.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool. What was he playing?
So he plays like the keys and with a bunch of pedals, and it makes it sound really cool.
His like Fender Rhodes type of thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what keyboard.
Yeah, with a bunch of cool pedals.
Yeah, he like runs the whole thing through a pedal board that he velcros to the top of it. It's always so funny looking, but it sounds so cool.
Yeah. I have a penchant for bald men in my band, I think, too. Or do I know too many?
I don't think you can know too many bald guys. Because they usually, like, all the hair got pushed out from all the music knowledge they took it.
That's it.
That's it. But that's cool. Something I try to ask every now and then, because you have so many instruments on, I feel like this could be interesting. How would you describe your sound? And if you could, what would you call your genre?
This is a question I struggle with a lot.
Yes.
Because especially I think this whole album was me finding my sound. Because again, it was like the beginnings of me starting to write songs to now. So I actually did another podcast recently where I was like, I can't really tell you what I sound like, but I can tell you what I was listening to at the time.
Ooh.
If I had to guess, though, I would say it's funky folk, soul, and rock and roll. I pull a lot from classic rock, I think, because I grew up on it.
I can see that.
Pull a lot from like 90s rock, I guess, is something I've been getting a lot lately.
I could see that because 90s rock had some connections. Like, it went like 60s, 70s, 80s. 70s and 80s kind of had their own sounds. And then 90 was like, there were some reconnections with a couple decades ago. And I can see that tying together in your sound.
I think sometimes my voice can kind of express that grunginess of the 90s at times.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really just fell in love with, over the years, once I started studying music, with like jam bands and funk bands and soul, and I kind of feel like my sound is an amalgamation of all that stuff. So funky folk, soul, and rock and roll is what I typically describe myself as. And did you ask who do I sound like?
Not who you sound like. What did I ask? I think I was asking specifically like how you described your sound and like tying that into like what you would say your genres. You kind of hit both of those.
Okay.
But out of curiosity, with some of the songs, you were saying that you could say more of who you were listening to in those times. With a couple of the songs, especially the 3 that we had on the Futon Sessions, who was it that you were listening to when you were writing those?
Those 3 specifically. I would say, so let's start with a lot of the earlier songs, I was listening to a lot of like Damien Rice, Ryan Montbleu. I grew up on Martin Sexton. A lot of like As Tall as Lions, Paramore, Incubus, Queens of the Stone Age. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place.
Okay.
With Ghost, I started leaning heavy into like Hiatus Coyote, Jamiroquai, which I don't know if it necessarily comes out in the song, but like that's who I was listening to.
That's really just kind of like what put you in the headspace for it, at least. Okay.
Yeah, and like Moonchild was a vibe I wanted to go for. On Hold is so much more recent. We'd need a couple hours for me to go through who I've been listening to lately. But Clockwork 2 is another like older one, and I think, you know, that perhaps really shows like the singers and songwriters that I was listening to at that age, which again is you know, everybody I just listed, but yeah.
That's cool. I always like when people have a long list of inspirations, because you can pull little pieces out for whatever sound you're looking for. Like, it's not just like, all right, I sound like Aerosmith and that's it. It's like you're pulling like bits off of a spice rack to kind of mix it all together into one pot.
Yeah. I will say, I think I've found kind of a kinship with Sammy Ray and the Friends. I don't know if you've listened to her, but I feel like if I had to pick a genre or someone I sound the most like, I listened to her and I was like, oh, that's kind of what I'm going for. So it feels good to finally like hear someone else doing that. But at the same time, I'm trying to lean more into like, I want to sound like me. I don't want to sound like somebody else, because striving for somebody else, you kind of lose all the originality.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even call it striving to be someone else, because there's some of your favorite musicians, you'll listen to them and then watch an interview, like someone might be of Maggie May right now, and they're like, oh, I love this artist, they feel so unique and different and yada yada yada, and then that person will say who their inspirations were, and you're like, I can see where those pieces came from. I can see like just the way he likes to play that note, the way he likes to sing this octave or like this vocal pattern for their runs. I can see where it comes from that singer or that artist. And I wouldn't even say it's just striving to be a particular artist. I think it's just the inspiration that you take in and letting it kind of influence you.
Absolutely. I think the fun thing too is we have such a great music scene here that a lot of my inspirations are my friends and like local musicians that I get to see all the time.
Especially with you being willing to work with other musicians, that in itself will give you, like, you have 5 musicians, including yourself. There's 5 of you. You have 5 different people's inspirations. None of you are probably pulling from the same list of artists or bands. And so you're getting, like, say each of those 5 has their 5 bands. Well, now you have like 25 different bands that are coming together into your one sound.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. Jack and I argue all the time, though, because he's more into like the country western stuff, and I'm very much not. He's always trying to get us to slow things down.
I want to see you with a cowboy hat.
All right. If you get me a purple one, I'll wear it.
Next gig? Okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll figure that one out. Well, listen, even with country western, there's some dances that they're like line dances. They're going pretty fast.
Okay.
I
Whatever
listened to
you
a little
say.
bit, not much.
I like some older stuff. Yeah. Like, I definitely rocked out at Willie Nelson concert. You know? Would he be considered country?
No.
So you're just like pothead music.
Country, not necessarily western, at least to me.
Okay, yeah.
He's also one of those people that it depends on the album. Depending on the album, he might be very western. He might be very country. He might be very southern. just depends.
I like that about him.
Yes. I love when an artist can like just change their sound every album. It's fun. Mm-hmm. You never know what you're going to get, but you know it's always them. Mm-hmm. There's always their twist to it.
Yeah. I hope that's what you get for my album when you hear it, because I feel like it's also kind of all over the place genre-wise, but it's me throughout.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. Like she said, be on the watch, April 2025. Projects coming out. Do you have a schedule for the singles until then?
Roughly every 6 weeks.
Every 6 weeks?
Until then. So the next single will be out December 11th is my goal.
Gotcha. All right,
Yep.
December 11th. Be watching. This will definitely be out before then.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
I'm
like
like
2
doing the
weeks.
math in my head. Something like that. Yes.
Yeah. So be on the lookout.
Be watching.
Be
All right.
watching.
Thank you so much for coming on, Maggie. Thank you for coming back on a separate day from the shoot. I always try to have these little interviews just because it's a lot of fun to get to know the artist, even just for myself, because I like to know more about what it is I just worked on.
Mm-hmm. What the heck did I just do?
I'm like, what? What?
Thanks for having me, Jarrett.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to leave a like and comment down below. If you have any questions for Maggie, leave them. She'll maybe come back and answer them. Maybe she won't. You won't know unless you ask. And be sure to watch for her next releases coming up. You're going to love them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.
Making sure